All right, as part of Shelf-tember, you know I am going through every little bit I have to use up things. And I'm also stocking up on a few things in the freezer. So I found in my refrigerator some roasted butternut squash that needs to get used up. So I'm gonna make something with that today. And I have that taco meat that I made last night. So and I have one of these wraps and a package of these wraps that I love. And I'm going to use some of those. And I'm going to make some burritos. We can eat either for dinners or lunches or whenever we want them. So I'm going to I warmed up my taco meat a little bit because it'll make it easier to scoop out of here. I was looking for my 1/4 cup measuring cup. I tend to way over put stuff in my taco stuff. So I'm going to try to not add a ridiculous amount, although I want them kind of full. This is that Olay wrap, so I'm going to put some of my meat in there and a good portion of the butternut squash. This turned out so good. I'm not a big squash person, but I really liked how this turned out. And then, now normally you would have the much bigger size, but hey, I'm using what I have. I am going to roll it up as tight as I can. And if you're going to use these right away, let me tuck this in just a little better. You could brown these in a pan. I am just going to wrap them in some parchment paper, the ones that I'm going to not use today for lunch and stuff. And then I could put those in the freezer, and I would just spray them lightly with a little bit of cooking spray and then put them in my air fryer. Or you could, if you want to do it, if you're taking them to lunch at work or something like that and you only have a microwave, you can brown them up a little bit first and then just reheat in the microwave. So I'm just going to continue to make these burritos. If you don't have butternut squash, you could use regular potatoes. I think roasting them really helped, added so much flavor to them. You could, can't talk and do this at the same time. My brain doesn't work. You could use sweet potatoes. They're awesome with sweet potatoes. Might be able to put a little extra filling in these, but like I said, I tend to overdo. I'm just going to sit here and roll and stuff and see if I have anything left over when I'm done. So I just thought this was a great way to use up that roasted butternut squash I had. In this, I used up some red pepper I had in the freezer, as well as some tomatoes from the garden that I needed to use up. So I think I did pretty good using up some items for Shelf-tember on this particular recipe. All right, sorry for the chickens in the background. Somebody's very proud of themselves for laying an egg, and then a lot of them join in to help sing their praises. Well, I ran out of the butternut squash, and I have one tortilla left, and I have some corn that my neighbor grows, the best corn, in the refrigerator. So I zapped it in the microwave for 3 minutes, and then I'm just going to, let me get rid of this first. I'm going to roast it just a tad to really bring out some of that flavor. You could use one of those torches or whatever. I just put it over my stove, get some little, you don't want to do too much. It also takes the excess silk off of it, but just to give it a little extra flavor. It's too hot to handle. Well, maybe it's cooled down enough. You got to give it a couple of minutes when it comes out of the microwave to cool a bit. Just going to roast it up a little bit, and then I'm going to chop it off the cob. You can see I only have one little lonely tortilla left there. I'm going to probably make a mess because I'm a very messy cook. So I'm going to take my knife I'm going to slice it off into the bowl the best I can. It's hot. A smaller knife would work better, but I'm going to cut that off real quick here. All right, as usual, I made a huge mess. I'm going to take that corn and I'm going to stir it into my leftover taco meat. There's not a whole lot here, but I can use it on a salad later on if I want. So that just adds a little bulk to it and a different flavor. You can add so much to tacos. Black beans is really good. You could make it creamy by adding some refried beans. But I'm using up what I have. And I'm just going to use it to fill my last. I think that's about enough for lunch today. And a nice salad for me. Alrighty, so we'll finish these off. Like I said, I'm going to wrap them in parchment paper. A little bit of taco meat left over. Parchment paper labeled into, some of them I will keep out in case the guys want one for lunch. And I will, when I get my food saver back out, make up a couple packs to go in the food saver. So there you go. There is my burritos. All right, with that leftover meat, I decided to chop up the last 2 cucumbers I'll probably get from the garden this year. The plants have all died. And 4 tomatoes. I'm just going to add a little dollop of sour cream. Going to keep it simple. I do have a couple green peppers, but I decided not to use those because I'm going to make some salsa. If I can find my dehydrated, I dehydrated some jalapenos a couple years ago. I don't know which one to use, so just going to mix this up. And this is, forgive me, I've already got the dishwasher running. I'm just going to eat it out of the container here. I am not going to make a fancy bowl, but there you go. There's my lunch today. Used up the rest of that taco meat that I made. I made 9 burritos and then this little taco bowl here. And so that's 10 meals. That's pretty darn good. Anyway, let me know what you're using up this month, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.